I got married and had a cutest looking baby boy in 2004. The little milestones which parents keep track of as the baby grows were later than the normal timeline for Summer. He started walking at the age of 2. He used to recite poems and prayer when he was in play school. But he said the proper conversational word mama only at the age of 10. For a mother of 2 to 3-year-old child, discovering words like autism, hyperactive for the first time was overwhelming at the least. Hi, I'm Milan Singh, a mother of Samarjeet Singh, who is an autistic teenager. And you all might know him through Instagram and YouTube as the Biggish Boy. This is a journey we started to spread awareness about neurodivergence and to promote mental health among parents. Samar's story starts almost 16 years back when he was turning 3. Doctors were telling me things which I never knew. The only thing which I was understanding was that my son was very different from what the common notion of normal is. As parents, our initial analysis was that Samar could be deaf, as he wouldn't respond or react. To be completely candid, when the diagnosis came in, I was clueless. While trying to understand what they were saying, and a mother trying her best and yet failing to understand hyperactiveness and low attention span to the diagnosis, which made so much sense. Doctors helped me understand autism, but one thing which really made the difference was let's do best by him attitude of my family. So being aware of the problem is being one step closer to the solution. It's an uncharted territory. For me and most people, people had all sort of speculations. Simple-minded and unintelligible ones were, these are your past life sins. You can fix him by keeping this kind of fast. Oh, I hope he gets normal soon. Times have changed, but the shift in the mindset has been slow. The inability of people to understand a neurodivergent kid stems from exclusivity and unkind environment. He doesn't look autistic. Why is he so antisocial? No, we can't let our kids around him. However, these comments never bothered me much. For me, Samar was an enthusiastic kid who would get excited by the wrestling of the toffee wrapper, who would sleep with his favorite stuffed toys. At the end, I guess that's what unintentionally helped him grow into a responsive young autistic teenager with the great progress to show today. And from this, I realized that everyone needs to feel included, loved, and understood. Be it a neurodivergent kid or a neurotypical, progress is relative and individualistic, and we need to respect it. Now, that's not just my story, but story of many other parents having kids with autism or any other neurodivergence or even physical disabilities for that matter. Things just start to make sense, but the limited resources to treat and more importantly to understand him made us short-handed. Every kid needs their own time to reach a certain place in life. But for a kid with autism, it somehow supposedly needs to be fixed. And hence, the pressure on child and parents starts building up. It did not come overnight, but we did figure out some things, and those small wins meant everything to us, even then and even today. I vividly remember Summer started going to school. He used to cry a lot. He frivolously started to speak in excess, repeating phrases to himself, which found out to be called as echolalia. He could barely sleep at night because of his hyperactive temperaments. Concerns were many, but it was only study, observed, and time-invested solution which made the difference. We even tried stem cell therapy, which did not work in the case of Summer. But what did work actually was we acknowledging his unique predicaments. So, crying in play school, we changed the school and shift him into a special school. For his sleepless nights, we realized that he needs to be exhausted enough through physical activities to fully utilize his energy. Allow me to tell you an anecdote. Samar couldn't express himself, what he liked, what he didn't. So I took it upon myself to make him try as many activities as possible. So we started with piano lessons, then badminton, and he loved water so much so that he would just see a swimming pool and rush to jump into it. But the catch here was that he did not know how to swim. So for some time, running around and playing the game of catch me if you can, before I took a dive and was scared of his impetuous behavior, I realized that it has to be, he needs to learn swimming. But of course, it was difficult. The instructions were hardly paid heed to by an over-enthusiastic kid. But at the end, he did learn. And we continued with swimming and our exploration journey with skates, then karate, and recently basketball. I'm aware he might not make his professional career in sports, or even conventional studies for that matter. But the key takeaway here is to not give up. Different brain implies that some will do more, some will do less, and that goes with everyone, even a neurotypical category. Even after all, you don't see every other neurotypical becoming a multi-billion-dollar startup CEO. As humans, neurotypicals are neurodivergents. Everyone has their own battles, failures, disappointments, issues, which they cannot handle by themselves. A neurotypical brain to a neurodivergent brain is somewhat similar in analogy to what an iOS is to an Android. They both are simply different. They cannot look similar, they cannot do similar functions, but they both need two different set of codings. Because the operating system is different, and yet they can have similar utilities. But for autism as a derogatory label and misinformed understanding, society just tends to give up on them, as if they're some kind of lost cause. Society is also harsh on them. Hence, mental health in work culture, school, and everyday life remains a very crucial topic for further discussions. Everyone is a genius. But if you judge a fish by its ability to climb a tree, it is going to believe its whole life that it was stupid. Quoting Einstein's words as an exemplary fellow in this spectrum rightly points out the irony in the notion of normal. So the question is, what is normal? Pardon me, what is normal for an autistic kid? And what is your normal? While taking care of your loved ones, one should not sacrifice a sense of self or normalcy. And I would not pretend I did otherwise. Like air hostesses popularly say, you should wear your oxygen mask first before helping others. I had a business to run. I love to travel. I'm a foodie who also loves to cook. But taking care of my kid was taking a lot of my time. And I realized I needed time for myself to be happy. And that helped me reciprocate my content at home too. It was tiresome to always keep a watch on Summer when he was younger and had no sense of danger. And at the same time, I was trying to make him learn as many activities as possible. Though I was tired and exhausted, I never reached a stage of anger or frustration because I didn't lose myself in the process. So it might seem that they don't understand. But one thing I can swear by is keep talking to them because they understand more than you can think. I still remember it was embarrassing when I used to go out with him to a restaurant and he would just run around everywhere. But I was never embarrassed by autism or him. And today, he goes out with utmost sophistication, chooses from the menu, orders his favorites. But it might seem like a small thing to you all. But for a kid with limited verbal cues, it's an inspirational growth. And this is truly possible because of the very important normalcy we are discussing here. The ideal kind of partnership, is pitching it from both sides. Sammi and I were able to devise some commonality so that we can work in our own sweet and normal manner. It took time. We had to find our midway, our equilibrium. And like most relationships, the most rewarding part is the bond made in the journey. So for Sammi and me, the most difficult part was the lack of communication. He was a hyperactive kid who used to throw stuff out of the balcony. If we would take him out somewhere, his curious mind wanted to explore and would just run around everywhere. He threw tantrum about food. He didn't like wearing certain kind of clothes. He also used to run away from home. We literally lived like prisoners. He picking up and eating anything which was not taken care of, or even if it was guarded. So it was difficult figuring out how it was going. But one thing which was subconsciously happening was I was learning about him, knowing what all he had to deal with. what all things were actually bothering him, and how I could put him at ease. So while learning about life, how to get by, it was difficult for him to understand how to not eat too rapidly, how to get toilet trained, when to say hi, bye, everything. So talking about my relationship with Summer, I had to find his interest. And it was exactly where my interest lay, food. So I saw that he loved food little more than just eating it. So whenever I asked him to prepare some food or some special delicacy, he would somehow engage with a deeper attention. We started bonding over it. And yes, he does snack a lot on prepared ingredients. We started baking together. He very soon learned the idea of how carefully he must use a knife, how to, what are the ingredients need to be used in the items. We started bonding over it. I picked up on his cues, and he picked up on mine. But yes, it is still very difficult to keep him in the kitchen for a very longer period of time because of his ADHD, and we are still working on it. Some people consider not having another child after a neurodivergent kid is born. But as I stressed earlier, what's natural to you is important. I always wanted to have 2 kids, and that also turned out to be a beautiful experience for me. Especially the role of younger one turned out to play in Summer's life. And Summer started showing emotions of love and protections for the first time. I made sure Adam had his heart in the right place and started educating him very early on. And he did catch up. He started taking care of his elder brother's medication. He demanded his friend to treat his brother with as much respect as they should to an elder. And this all made me feel content with my choice of having another child. As family, I have always tried not to adhere a separate routine for Summer. Yes, he goes to special school, but apart from that, I have always tried to gel up the whole family in a way that someone never misses out on any experience. When you see an autistic person stimming, like flapping hands or not making eye contact, they are trying to regulate themselves to be composed, not trying to be rude or antisocial. You have to understand that they are trying to understand the cues of neurotypical world. But that also does not mean that they are always vulnerable and rely on your mercy. No, give them the confidence and space to show their talent, and they will bamboozle you. So parents, I want to appeal to you all to listen to what your heart wants. Does it want a breather? Does it want to stop listening to those hate comments and believe in your child and yourself? With the world becoming more technologically advanced and sensitive, we need to understand that people with ASD are as much part of society as anyone else is. People, government, organizations need to take steps so that people with ASD are well accommodated and understood. Autistic individuals, their kins, and people who understand spectrum are now advocating their voice across the globe. And finally, they are at least heard. So this is not the time to look back. To know a person, you need to listen to them and understand them. So here I am asking you all to open your hearts and be a real empathetic person you can be. Educate yourself and people around you. This is 21st century. Humanity needs to do better. Thank you.